Please call the roll.
Good morning. It's 11 a.m. Calling the roll for the Monday, November 5th Board of Control meeting. We have Nan Baker, Dale Miller, Trevor Mackler serving as an alternate for Dan Brady, Mike Chambers serving as an alternate for Mike Dever, Armin Budish,
Here.
Dennis Kennedy, Lenora Lockett. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Minutes from October 29th. Any changes? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. McAleer. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Minutes are approved. Any public comment?
No public comment at this time,
Any tabled items?
and no tabled items.
Okay, let's get started.
First item is item number BC 2018-753, Department of Public Works, submitting a sanitary sewer service agreement with Lorain County to provide the conveyance of wastewater and collect connection and maintenance charges for an estimated 41 residential single-family parcels located in Columbia Township. And it's a revenue-generating agreement.
Mike Chambers of Public Works asking for approval of this item. This is actually inter-county or multi-county agreement to service 41 single-family homes so that their wastewater comes into our Grand Oaks pump station in Olmsted Township. This agreement calls for Lorain County to pay the connection fees as well as the maintenance charges associated with the 41 homes wastewater.
Thank you. Any questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. McAleer. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes. Thank you.
Next item BC 2018-754, Department of Public Works, submitting an amendment to an airport use maintenance agreement with Swage Lock Company and Swage Lock Manufacturing Company, LLC, formerly known as Obit Company, for use of Cuyahoga County airport facilities for operation of a private company aircraft located at Curtis Wright Parkway in Highland Heights, and is for the period March 24th, 1977 through March 23rd, 2017, to extend the time period to December 31st, 2022, to change the terms effective March 24th, 2017, and for additional revenue in the amount of $62,168.
Good morning, John Myers on behalf of Department of Public Works. This is a maintenance agreement is between Swage Lock Corporation, which has a manufacturing facility and a hangar located on Bishop Road in Highland Heights, immediately adjacent to the airport. This allows Swage Lock plane, which they own their own hangar, they own on their own land, which is unique to all of our other relationships out at the airport, to be able to access directly to the airport to use. So this provides for fees to be able to use direct access to our runway.
Thank you. Any questions? Councilman Miller.
How does the revenue arrangement compare to what it's been in the past?
It's a significant increase, Mr. President of the Councilman. This is historically been a guaranteed $1,000 a year. It's the end of a 40-year agreement that was written back in the 70s. And then landing fees plus a 20% surcharge. We're keeping the set landing fees and the 20% surcharge, but we're increasing this to $1,000 guaranteed a month. So it's whatever the higher of either landing fees plus 20% surcharge or $1,000 a month, whichever is the higher of the two. So it's a significant increase from the guaranteed minimum.
Okay, fine.
Last year was $6,000.
Yes, just
so
our
this
fees.
would guarantee a minimum of $12,000.
We're guaranteed at least doubling from where we've been in the past.
Further questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, BC 2018-755, Department of Public Works, recommending an award on requisition 42576 to Cleveland Key and Security in the amount of $61,280.33, and is for the purchase of materials and installation of locks and keys at the county courthouse.
Good morning, Matt Reimer with the Department of Public Works. This recommendation for award was based on a request for bid that was advertised and closed on August 17th of this year. 11 plan holders were pulled. One bid was submitted. This is for interior materials for the courthouse. As you know, we have a historic county courthouse, and the locking systems of those doors in the court offices are becoming increasingly difficult, and many are failing. And so this will provide materials for our county locksmith to reinstall and modernize the locking systems of judges' chambers, the court offices, and things all in the interior of the building.
Thank you. Any questions? Councilman Miller.
Would seem like this is something a lot of people could do. Do we have any idea why we only got one bid?
I can't explain that, Councilman. I'd have to defer offline with OPD on this one. We did have, looks like, a number of interested vendors pull the specifications. It was not a complex bid requirement. There were 4 line items, and quantities were just what drove up the dollar amounts. So I can't explain the market conditions there.
Was there any prior estimate as to what we were expecting this to cost?
This is in line with that estimate. I don't have that estimate in front of me, but I can provide that offline if you'd like, Councilman.
But you're saying it's in line with, it was not a surprise?
Correct.
Okay.
Any other questions? Yes.
Lenora Lockett, Office of Procurement and Diversity. We did hear back from one vendor, and they stated that they could not provide the performance bond.
Okay. Further questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second? Second by Mr. McAleer. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes. Thank you.
Next item, item number BC 2018-756, Department of Public Works, submitting an amendment, subsidiary number 3, to a contract with Frank Novak and Sons, Inc. for interior painting services at various county buildings, and it's for the period December 1st, 2016 through November 30th, 2018. And at this time, the department would like to extend the time period also through December 31st, 2018, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $6,000.
Good morning, Matt Reimer with the Department of Public Works again. This is a contract amendment request to make use of some available funding that remains on near the end of our contract of this paint services contract with Frank Novak and Sons. We have an ongoing project in the courthouse, courtroom 213, a renovation of that courthouse, and the funds available plus the funds that we're asking for in this amendment request would complete that project and close out this contract. The department does have a new RFP for paint services going out to bid. We just received the RQ approval for that, the requisition approval for that, and we'll be advertising probably within the month, I would estimate.
Thank you. Any questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second?
This as amended?
As amended, sorry.
Okay, second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, item BC 2018-757, Department of Public Works, recommending an award on requisition 43878 and enter into a contract with Epic Energy Solutions, LLC, in the amount of $1,200. And it's for cleaning, inspection, testing, and assessment of 2 1200A medium voltage vacuum breakers located at the Cuyahoga County Justice Center. And it's for the period November 22nd, 2018 through November 25th, 2018.
Yes, Matt Reimer with the Department of Public Works. This is an informal bid that the department put out. We had 3 bidders. This is the lowest and best bidder to include the lowest. These are to refurbish 2 1200 amp breakers that go into our main switchgear at the Justice Center. This will provide the spares that we need in the event that we ever have any electrical distribution problems or for our upcoming testing evolutions that we have planned.
Thank you. Questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
By Councilman Miller. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is BC 2018-758, Department of Information Technology, submitting an amendment to a contract with DWR Consulting for consultant services on FAMIS and payroll system applications. And it's for the period April 1st, 2016 through December 31st, 2018, to extend the time period to December 31st, 2019, to modify the terms effective January 1st, 2019, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $100,000.
Good morning, Dennis Sullivan, Department of IT. This amendment, you've seen an amendment prior with DWR.
to finish up the famous and payroll conversion with the ERP project. The only difference here is the 10% that is attributed towards the recent deceased personnel from operations down in Lakeside.
Thank you. Any questions?
Yes,
Councilman Miller.
I didn't fully understand what you presented about the 10%. Could you amplify on that a little bit?
Operations down on Lakeside Avenue had one of the personnel recently passed. So the 10% of this is going to be a pickup by DWR for staff augmentation.
Okay. Any other questions? Yes, Mr. Kennedy.
Does the hourly rate stay the same as the previous agreement?
Same, not to exceed, only used upon invoicing. And what I'm being told is it's not going to need the whole 2019 year and won't spend the whole 100,000.
The hourly rate's the same because we pay by hour. Okay.
And yes.
Thank you. Other questions? Councilwoman Baker.
Thank you. And just to be clear, the 90% ERP is coming from the $25 million of the original contract?
Yeah.
Thank
The
you.
reason it's written that way is to try and, obviously it didn't work, but we're mentioning ERP and it is technically general fund on the accounting side.
Got it.
But yes, it is the ERP project.
Thank you.
Further questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilwoman Baker. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item passes. Thank you.
Next item, BC 2018-759. It's a two-part item. Department of Information Technology, A, submitting an RFP exemption on requisition 43869, which will result in an award recommendation to Dell Marketing LP in the amount of $88,620, and it's for the purchase of 2,000 Microsoft Enterprise Mobility and Security Core access licenses. And B, recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Dennis Sullivan again with Department of IT. These core access licenses are needed for our Active Directory. Simply put, an example that was told to me is HHS, which is not one of the only contributors, but HHS is the majority of this need. They need it for authentication on our network. So if they're coming from the state network into our applications to update anything, it's a single sign-in, single login for them, and they get authenticated through these core access licenses that are needed. You need a core access license for each individual that is in another domain coming into our network.
Thank you. Any questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is a two-part item. Item number BC 2018-760, Department of Information Technology. A, submitting an RFP exemption on requisition 43760, which will result in an award recommendation to Integrated Precision Systems, Inc. in the amount of $35,979.17 for the purchase and installation of 7 video surveillance cameras, 1 video management server, and 7 XProtect corporate device channel licenses. And it's for the exterior of the Virgil E. Brown building. And B, recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption, and also to change the funding source from Health and Human Services levy to Protective Services Fund.
Good morning, David DeGrantis from the Department of IT. This is an extension of our existing camera system that we use, the enterprise network system we use throughout the county. Public Works has recently started a project to replace the roof at the Virgil E. Brown building. And as a result, the 4 cameras, not as a result of that, but the age of the existing cameras on the roof is 16 plus years. 2 of the 4 on the main roof are not working. This also includes providing outdoor security cameras to the parking lot to the west of the Virgil Brown building for where many employees and visitors to the building park.
Thank you. Questions? Councilman Miller?
Can you tell me what the Protective Services Fund is and how money flows into that fund?
I'm on the technical engineering
Dr.
side.
Kennedy.
Donna Cleo, the fiscal administrator from Sheriff's, can shed some light on that.
So you're asking how the internal service fund kind of works?
it was said Protective Services Fund. I'm wondering what that is.
That's the internal service fund, and how it basically works is we are appropriated at the beginning of the year with X amount of appropriations, and then what we do is charge back, it's like a cost allocation. We charge back all the different agencies to replenish. That fund has to almost like be a break even by the end of the year. So there's some extra money we keep, of course, in the internal service fund for just such emergencies like this, to make purchases like this.
Is this basically general fund money?
Yes.
Yes.
Further questions? Councilwoman Baker.
Just a comment that I'm glad that it's not being taken out of the Health and Human Services. But this, I would have questioned why we would have thought that that should. So I'm glad to see that it's coming out of another fund that everyone's contributing to that goes to where it should go.
Right, it gets allocated across the board.
Further questions? Comments? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes. Thank you.
Next item, BC 2018-761. It's a two-part item. Department of Information Technology, A, submitting an RFP exemption on requisition 43928, which will result in an award recommendation to Dell Marketing LP in the amount of $3,796.32, and it's for the purchase of 8 Microsoft Office 365 subscription licenses, and it's for the Solid Waste District. And B, recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Good morning again, Dennis Sullivan with IT. Solid Waste came forward. They had personnel that were having trouble doing daily application work. Found out that they were running on an older version of Windows Microsoft products, so they needed to upgrade to Microsoft Office 365. It's a full Office suite, and that'll eliminate their problems with opening applications. As you know, everything with Dell and with the Microsoft goes back to our master service agreement.
Thank you. Questions? Seeing none, I'm Councilwoman Baker.
The prior one was for 2,000 licenses. This one is for 365.
Now, this one's for 8.
Oh,
Office 365 is the name of
that
the
is
suite
for 8
product.
of them.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any time when these are overlapping or part of a contract or?
Was asked prior, these apples to oranges, total different user groups and total different application.
Good, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Miller. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes. Thank you.
Next item, it's item number BC 2018-762, Fiscal Office, recommending an award on requisition 43947 and enter into an agreement with State of Ohio Office of the Auditor in the amount not to exceed $90,000, and it's for the comprehensive annual financial report for calendar years 2018 and 2019, and it's for the period January 1st, 2019 through December 31st, 2020.
Dennis Kennedy with the Fiscal Office. This is a 2-year contract at approximately $45,000 each year. That's a not-to-exceed amount for assistance provided by the Local Government Services Division of the State Auditors. That is a contract that helps us do our annual conversion from cash to GAAP and allows us to complete the comprehensive annual financial report.
Thank you. Questions? Councilman Miller?
Is this similar to what we've paid in the past for the same purpose?
Councilman, I believe there was a slight increase, but it's not exorbitant compared to what we had paid. And again, it's not to exceed, so we may not use the entire amount each year.
Thank you. Any other questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second?
There is. I'll second.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes. Thank you.
Next item, BC 2018-763, Fiscal Office, submitting an amendment to agreement with State of Ohio Office of the Auditor for an annual audit, and it's for calendar year 2017 for the period January 1st, 2018 through December 31st, 2018 for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $28,700.
Dennis Kennedy again with the Fiscal Office. This was for additional charges incurred by the State Auditor in completing our 2017 audit.
Thank you. Questions? Mr. McAleer?
Do you have an anticipated completion date now?
I have, as you know, we've gotten our opinion letter, but I have not been notified by the auditors about a scheduled post-audit meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Miller?
Are there specific additional tasks that accounted for this money?
Yes, Councilman, it was some testing and compilation requirements related to some things that came up late in the audit, June and July. Those were related to compilation of like exchange time hours and verification of those sorts of things. So it was about 2.5 months of work there.
Okay, fine.
Any other questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes. Thank you.
Next item, BC 2018-764, Court of Common Pleas, Juvenile Court Division, submitting an amendment to an agreement with Metro Health System for health care and management services for youth detained at the Cuyahoga County Juvenile Detention Center, and is for the period May 1st, 2016 through February 28th, 2018, to extend the time period to March 31st, 2018, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $5,741.45.
Morning, Sarah Baker with Juvenile Court. Roughly in the month of February, there was a youth that was involved in a high-speed car chase with the police. He crashed that vehicle and was taken to Metro Health, where he received some treatment services, and at that time it was determined he needed no further medical care. He was then brought to our detention center, and later on, it was determined that there was more serious damage done to this youth than originally thought. He ended up needing some sort of a jaw surgery. And by that time, it was already March, and our contract with Metro had already expired. However, due to trying to maintain the continuity of care, it was recommended that he be returned to Metro for this particular surgery. And typically in situations like this, the court tries to discharge the youth from the detention center so that we're not paying for the cost of, such surgeries like this, because they can be rather costly. However, in this case, the prosecutor's office determined that we were not allowed to discharge this youth based upon the fact that he had already tried to run before. Therefore, we were going to have to pay for the surgery. So the bill came in quite a few months later. And we looked at our contract, and obviously it had expired, and there obviously wasn't enough money left to pay this bill. We went back and forth working with OBM, trying to figure out the best way to pay this and make sure that we did it the correct and appropriate way. We thought maybe we could voucher the payment, but it was later determined that we couldn't. So the idea that we came up with was to extend the contract with Metro for one additional month, where the dates of services fell into that month. And add in the additional funds that we needed to pay off the remaining bills for this youth's particular surgery.
Thank you. Any questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Councilwoman Baker.
Clarity and understanding Metro. Don't they offer subsidies to help those that are in need of services? And because this contract ended, couldn't that have perhaps fallen under their care?
I'm not sure 100% on that. I would think that maybe they do offer that, but since he was considered technically to be in our custody at that time, we ended up with the bill.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Further questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. McAleer. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes. Thank you.
Next item, BC 2018-765, Sheriff's Department, submitting an agreement with Cuyahoga County Community College Public Safety Training Center in the amount not to exceed $70,000 for private security academy training services at the Western Campus, located at 11,000 West Pleasant Valley Road in Parma, and is for the period November 5th, 2018 through November 4th, 2019.
Good morning, Donna Khalil, Sheriff's Fiscal Manager. We're seeking approval to have a government-to-government contract with Tri-C. Reason being is because we are down right now about 32 protective service officers. We just can't get the candidates. We have posted several times throughout the year, and we might get 1 or 2 candidates. The big holdback, the big drawback is that we require them to have OPATA. So we're gonna try to see, if this works better for us. I will say with the last posting where we did not require the OPATA training, we had 127 applicants, which we're gonna start going through now and trying to find, of course, the 30 best, get them hired, and then send them off for their OPATA training. And it's just our way to try to get our numbers up because, again, our numbers are down so bad right now.
Thank you. Any questions?
Yes, I'm
Councilwoman Baker.
going to have to ask, what is OPATA training and why is it
The-
difficult?
It's not the training. I don't know if the training is difficult or not. I've never been through it, but it's the Ohio Peace Officer Training Association, and we require that for. And there's three levels we require: one for the corrections officers, one for the protective service officers, and then the highest level for the deputies. And again, what it is most people just don't have it coming in the door. And if they do have it, they're usually working like at private security companies, things like that. So again, when we post for this position, we may get we may get like 20 people applying. At the end, we hire like 2 of them because they don't make it through background checks and things like that. So this we again posted without requiring the OPATA this time. We said we're going to train you, and we got 127 applicants.
If I may, so the 70,000 is for the training to give them for what it is we want them to have, and we're willing to pay for it.
Yeah, what it is they're required to have actually for a protective service officer.
If I may, is there any thought of asking them to reimburse it, given the training stays with them and it's an added to their, or is, yeah.
We haven't, the one thing we're discussing, as a matter of fact, our HR department has been, I know they reached out to Pat the other day, and we will have something in place basically saying once you get this from us, there's got to be some kind of contractual agreement. You will stay with us for a period of time. What that is, that's more of an HR and law department decision to make. But we haven't talked about reimbursing. We have just talked about something contractually that they do not leave us once they get it.
I think either one is appropriate.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Other questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Baker. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes. Thank you.
Next item, BC 2018-766, Department of Health and Human Services, Community Initiatives Division, Office of Reentry, recommending an award on requisition 41712 and enter into a contract with Cleveland Neighborhood Progress, doing business as Neighborhood Progress, Inc., in the amount not to exceed $23,000, and it's to develop and oversee the creation and inventory and asset map and analysis of reentry resources and services. And it's for the period November 5th, 2018 through August 31st, 2019.
Good morning, Fred Bulletin with the Office of Reentry. This is a new plan that we have. The Office of Reentry, since its inception, has focused much of its efforts on developing and funding programs, but what we have found is that budgetary considerations, we will never have the budget to take these programs up to full scale to serve more than 100 and 150 people at a time. So we are transitioning to make ourselves more of a backbone agency to support, oversee, coordinate all things reentry within, among other health and human services agencies, nonprofits, faith-based organizations that provide services for reentrance. As I say, everything in health and human services is a subset of reentry, and reentry is a subset of all the aspects of health and human services. So what we are doing with this is actually finding what services and things are available and where, and actually coming up with a map of reentry assets, which also will identify gaps, because there's some duplication of services and there are certainly some gaps, and this will identify all of them and will help us in our planning in becoming that resource for all things reentry.
Thank you. Any questions? Councilman Miller.
Not a question, just a comment. I think this is a good undertaking. Reentry services in Cuyahoga County are fragmented. there's a lot of agencies out there working with this population and doing various pieces of it, and I think it would be a real benefit and well worth the money to get a good understanding of who all is doing what and what needs are being met and what needs are not being met, and so I commend this effort.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Just one as a follow-up to that. I too think that there's probably, as you say in your backup, surveys, focus groups, interviews, looking for gaps, looking for duplication. But you also say that there will be a presentation of the findings. So 1 year is the parameters of this recommendation. So what type of presentation, or what are you planning to make sure that we understand through your efforts that this
What
in fact
this will produce is a physical map of identifying exactly what assets there are, what things and services there are for reentering citizens, where they are, and it's part of our overall plan. We will be coming back here in a few weeks with another request for contract for consulting to help develop a county-wide plan for putting, once we have this information, for putting this all into practice of how we can better serve the other government agencies and faith-based nonprofit to coordinate and oversee and provide resources and develop a common database for maintaining what those things are and keeping that up. It's part of what we are trying to do to re-emphasize ourselves as a backbone to hold up and support all the other efforts that are going on. And so this is the first step of making sure we have identified everything that's out there, and in doing that, what we're missing, so we can try and help coordinate bringing those things to.
Thank you.
If I may just follow, so if I understood you, you are not only going to do the focus groups and understand the parameters of what you think is needed, but you're also going to implement within the next year? So it's both a investigation and an implementation? And in a couple of weeks, will you be giving us the results of your investigation? Yes. I'd be interested to hear that.
Is that accurate? You're not going to have the results of your investigation in a couple of weeks, are you?
But I'm sorry?
The investigation that you're doing, will you have the results of that in a couple of weeks?
It will be completed by, hopefully, what the date is, by the end of August.
Yeah, that's...
End of August of next year?
Yeah.
Okay. So no implementation of anything?
Oh, no, what we'll be coming is a consultant to help put together, I'm sorry, I guess I didn't understand that. Okay. A consultant for strategic planning to develop the action plan for the Office of Reentry in keeping with the Health and Human Services and overall county strategic plan, and to help to devise a county-wide strategy. But that will use, among other things, they will work with this group to, as they get that information, to be able to develop that into a more strategically and action-oriented plan of doing so.
So if I may, so the Cleveland Neighborhood Progress is going to work with a consultant, and you're going to come back for more dollars to pay the consultant.
Cleveland Neighborhood Progress is going to be doing the initial research as to what is there and what is not there, and developing the map.
Okay.
Then we'll be here in a few weeks with is for a contract with Design Impact to take that information and develop that into a plan. And they will be working together as the asset map progresses.
Okay, all right, clear, thank you.
Anything else? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Item passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, item number BC 2018-767, currently referenced as a two-part item, is going to be amended. It's recommending an award on requisition 43979 to Cavaliers Holding LLC for a $0 cost for 50 tickets for adoptive children to attend a Cleveland Cavaliers game at Quicken Loans Arena on November 26, 2018.
Good morning, Dan Basta, Health and Human Services, on behalf of the Division of Children and Family Services. Originally, this was for 50 tickets to the November 26 Cavs game against the Timberwolves for adoptive children tonight. Executive Budish and Maggie Keenan brought it to our attention that we wouldn't have to pay for these tickets as a part of the Quicken Loans renovation project. So we are putting it in as a no-cost department order so that there's a paper trail to follow for these tickets.
Thank you. Questions?
Only a comment that, thank you for investigating that, and I'm glad to see that that's being paid for that way.
Their help.
Good.
Thank you. Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Item passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I just want to say approved as amended.
Yes, I'm sorry. Approved as amended, zero cost.
Next item, BC 2018-768, Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Senior and Adult Services, submitting an amendment to a contract with Terminex International LP for bed bug extermination services, and it's for the period January 1st, 2017 through December 31st, 2018, to extend the time period to December 31st, 2019, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $150,000.
This is Paul Porter, Senior and Adult Services. This is an amendment to the existing contract with Terminex that both DSAS and the Division of Children and Family Services have access to make referrals through. We're adding an additional year to this contract and adding $150,000, which should cover our costs for 2019.
You? Any questions? Councilman Miller.
Just a comment that my colleague Yvonne Conwell was the prime mover in getting this program started, and there's a lot of need out there. We got to get rid of the bed bugs, and I move approval.
Is there a second? Seconded by Councilwoman Baker. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We're on to the consent agenda, items 769 to 773. Are there any questions? Councilwoman Baker.
Just for clarification, on the travel to Rochester, New York, it is paid for directly by Mount Sinai. Why is it that we need to know if we're not approving any funding for this? What is is that just to keep track of where everyone is going, or?
No, it's actually open debate right now whether we need to include it or not on these, but while we are considering the best approach, and we have already started conversation with council leadership but until then, we just thought we'll put it on.
I can understand if it flows through or reimbursement, but this says directly where we're not really involved at all, I don't think.
Maybe part of the Ken Sarr from the Department of Development is also because it was out-of-state travel. I think trying to align with the travel policy as well, just making sure there is proper approval to travel out of state.
Okay, just curious. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I may,
McAleer.
I think that's correct. I believe it's any out-of-state travel, regardless of dollar amount, has to get approved by the Board of Control.
Okay.
These states, so we're following it.
Correct.
Any other questions? Seeing none, I move to approve the consent agenda items 769 to 773. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Baker. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The consent agenda items are approved, and we move to other business.
We have several mission-critical items. The first mission-critical item is from the Department of Public Works, recommending an award on requisition 42989 in the amount not to exceed $6,070 with Prism Glass as the vendor for cleanup of board of broken windows. Is that what you have here, Tom? It's hard to read. And the funding source is capital projects.
Good morning, Tom Pavich, Public Works. Requesting mission critical approval. This was mission critical with Prism Glass. This was the cleanup and board up of broken panes of glass at the Justice Center complex. To be more specific, it was at the Cleveland Police Building. It was discovered there's multiple panes of glass that was broken during the renovation project, and our trades deemed this to be a safety hazard as the glass was cracking more. We didn't want it to fall below, so we did mission critical. The vendor did the initial cleanup and board up, cleaned out the frame, and then they had to do the special order of the windows, which they pursued and got that installed. We did put this out in buy speed for the 2 hours. It actually went out for over a day, and Allied or Prism Glass was the only person that gave us an estimate.
Thank you. I move to amend today's agenda to consider the item. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? The agenda is amended. Any questions on the item? Councilman Miller.
Who did the renovation work?
This was on the second floor, so this was done in-house with our trades. So I believe the second floor, Matt can chime, I think it's probate.
Hi, Councilman Matt Reimer with the Department of Public Works. Just for clarity, this was discovered during the renovation, not broken as a result of the renovation. So we discovered it, saw the hazard, and took the mission critical action to make safe. Okay, but this was during our county building trades renovation of floors 1, 2, and 4 of the police building for the probation department move.
Thank you. Further questions?
Just one,
Councilwoman Baker.
for clarification, if this happened during the renovation time, wouldn't they have cleaned it up or taken care of it at the time that they saw that it was broken glass on the floor? I mean, if it's our people doing the work?
These were, Councilwoman, these were cracked panes that presented a safety hazard for people below. Our trades do not have that capability to board up those large panes of glass, so they need specialty support to do that work.
So they didn't break, they were just cracked?
They were discovered
Potential of
correct. They were discovered correct, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Further questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Thank you.
Next mission-critical item, Department of Public Works, recommending an award on requisition 43848 to PureTech Valley View in the amount not to exceed $3,147.50 for immediate repair of facilities bucket trucks. And the funding source is general fund.
Good morning, Tom Pavich again, Public Works. This was a mission critical request for one of our facilities, bucket trucks. We actually had a scheduled bridge inspection on a Saturday, and it was determined that Thursday afternoon before that our existing bucket truck, 15 of the hoses had external rupture, so the bucket truck would not be able to function properly. We didn't want to cancel the inspection, so we deployed a mission critical request. The other option was to rent a bucket truck, but the bucket truck would have had to have been repaired anyways at the same cost. So we found a vendor that was able to do the repair, had the hoses in stock, and do the repair on that Friday to get this operable the same day.
Thank you. Questions? I move to amend the agenda to consider the item. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda is amended. Any questions on the substance? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item is approved.
Thank you.
Critical item number 3, Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Children and Family Services, recommending an award on requisition 44095 and enter into a contract with Life Start Inc. in the amount not to exceed $24,999.99 for out-of-home care services for the period, several periods, September 17, 2018 through December 31st, 2018, and October 9th, 2018 through December 31st, 2018. The funding source is a combination of General Fund, 30%, and Health and Human Services Fund, 70%, for 2 different children.
Good morning, Bob Math from the Department of Health and Human Services on behalf of Division of Children and Family Services. These are two mission critical circumstances. One's a 2-year-old child and the other's a 13-year-old child that are both coming out of the hospital with really serious medical issues and very special needs. One was placed in a foster home that they couldn't meet the needs. The second child was placed with a relative family member. Again, they were struggling. Both of them required, feeding tubes. They're wheelchair bound. We identified a provider called Life Start. They're in Gahanna, Ohio. We have a network of foster homes that take care of special needs children. So both these children are being placed with Life Start in their foster home network.
Thank you. I move to amend the agenda to include this item. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The agenda is amended. Questions? Councilwoman Baker.
So did I hear it says 24,990, is it 25,000? Is that the amount that's being requested?
The rate is rate's approximately $150 per day.
Okay.
For these children per child. What'll happen? That'll take us through the 25,000. Will carry us through the balance of the calendar year, and then this provider will be added to the master contract in 2019.
Good. Thank you.
Is there a reason why is 30% general fund?
No, it should be 30% Title 4E.
Title 4E?
She said general fund.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's 70%, levy dollars and 30% general 4E, which is federal child care dollars.
But is it 4E or is it
30%?
30%
Title 4E, 70%, levy dollars.
Do we need to amend this to reflect
Yes.
that? Thank you. Any opposition to amending the item? It's amended. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I move to approve as amended. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Miller. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mission critical item number 4, Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Children and Family Services, recommending an award on requisition 44094 and enter into a contract with S. Harris in the amount not to exceed $24,999.99 for out-of-home care services, and it's for the period September 17th, 2018 through December 31st, 2018. And I will include the new funding source for this one. Instead of general fund, it's Title 4E, 30%, and Health and Human Services Fund, 70%.
Is this the other one that you've mentioned?
This is a different one. It's a total of 3.
Third one. I'm not aware of the third one.
It's for the same service, out-of-home care services.
I move to amend the agenda to consider the item. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The agenda is amended. Now on to the item. Can you respond?
Do my best. Obviously, this is mission critical. There's a child that was coming from University Hospitals and was placed on August 17th in a, I don't know if this is a residential facility or a foster home. I'll have to double check that. I was not aware this was being brought forward today.
Okay. Any questions? This is one child.
Currently one
correct?
child, a 2-year-old child.
Previous item covered just one child or 2 children?
No, the previous item covered 2 children. This is a third that I was not aware of was being brought
So
forward.
is this another 2-year-old?
This is another 2-year-old.
So we have 2 of those?
We have two
Okay,
2-year-olds.
Okay.
Twos. 2 twos.
Yeah.
And I can, if you need more information, I can surely get that from DCFS.
Okay.
Okay, I'll move to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. McAleer. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for filling that in, Mr. Mann. Any other business?
No other business at this time.
Any public comment?
No public comment. I just wanted to make a regular comment in observance of, Veterans Day. The next Board of Control meeting will take place on Tuesday, November 13th.
Thank you.
Just a comment
Yes, sir.
that this is a very special Veterans Day. It's the 100th anniversary.
Very good. All right. Any other business? None? I move to approve, to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Any opposition? We are adjourned.